There is something that I want to enlighten a lot of my beloved chosen ones, a lot of my, you know, Christian brothers and sisters in the Lord. Don't let nobody scam you in this generation. In terms of, I know that I have not read a lot or read a lot about tithing, but let me be real with you. I was brought up in the church, in Anglican, grew up in Living Word Gospel Mission. I was also a leader for more than 3 years in the church. So I understand the game, a lot of games in the church. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm trying to tell you, don't let people scam you no matter what. Don't let nobody, don't let nobody, indeed, don't let nobody ever scam you by believing that God only ordained or authorized you as an individual to sow a seed or a tithing to the church. No, it is never written. I have never across it anywhere. Give tithe to the Lord. Give tithe to the Lord. But let me tell you what Jesus said. He said, when I was sick, none of you ever bring food for me. When I was naked, none of you ever give me clothes to wear. When I was homeless, none of you ever put me in a place to take a shelter. Meaning that your tithing does not belong to your pastor, because your pastor is not a God. The moment you start to have this narrative, like this ungodly narrative that your tithing belongs to your pastor, that means your pastor is your God. Yes, and this is what they are using to brainwash a lot of Christians. Imagine your pastor is a millionaire, and you still believe indeed that your pastor deserve your tithing. How I don't know how we got to this point, whereby we have a lot of homeless people. We have a lot of people in the hospital that can't pay their bills. One day I was watching a video, that was trending in Nigeria. A lady that gave birth, but she was unable to pay it. She successfully delivered a baby that a lot of people are spending money to get. She successfully delivered, but for her to pay, her husband run away. Why? Because there is no money for her to pay the hospital bill. Whether it's something like 30,000 or 20,000 or 50,000, something like that. The man run away because I can't blame the man. They don't have the money. And there are people who don't know how to thief. You get what I'm saying? So what am I trying to say is this? But we have a lot of people in that the same state, in that the same country. Like seriously. Is it not last day? I can't remember the year that I watched that video. So what am I trying to say this? And we still have a lot of people around our environment. Like, for instance now, you are going to your church. You meet someone who is begging food, just food to eat. And you own like 1,000 euro in your hand or in your pocket to sow a tithe, but someone that you just saw with your eye that have no food to eat, just one meal to eat in a day. My brother, I don't know the kind God some people are serving, to be real. Whether we are trying to buy heaven by all means, I don't know. To be real, it flatter me, bro. Sometimes I will just be imagining. How do we got to this point? How? I'm not saying you should not support the body of Christ, but you have to understand that there are people who need that or that tithing, that offering, much more than your pastors. Because let me tell you, choosings, let me tell you, my Christian brothers and sisters, you may not like what I'm saying until you travel around. Yes, this is why sometimes traveling is also a means of you understandings of religion. I'm not trying to criticize or say all kinds of stuff, but I have met a lot of people, but nobody is a cheerful giver like Muslims, to be real. I know that they have another ugly part of them, but when you meet them, when you see the kind of unity they have within them, you will understand. You will understand. I know that there are people who are so evil and demonic indeed among them, but when you meet them, you will understand what unity mean. So let's stop fooling ourselves, bro. It is time we start to help one another. It is time we start to assist one another. Don't let nobody scam you that if you don't give your tithe to your pastor, that means you are not paying tithe. You can decide to use that your tithe to cook food and share it to the people out there who need it. You can decide to use that your tithe to rent a place and put someone. God is saying it. Don't think God is blind. They have come to brainwash us to the point that where they are telling us, if you don't use your tithe, you will not go make heaven. Let me tell you, heaven is real. Hell is real. But that is something that we are going to die to understand deeper about it. Deeper. Forget about all these people who are telling you heaven is like this, hell is like this. That is the only thing. That is why we need to live purely. Because the only thing, the only way in which you will know whether hell is like this or like that is you die. The moment you die, you are not coming back. So for you to know indeed whether heaven is real or hell is real, you have to die first. So in order for you to do that good, you have to follow the logistic ways of God, the analysis of doing good to all mankind. Because when I traveled back to Africa in year 2023, so I was in a church. The church was so good, so nice. So I see people dancing, we are dancing, we are all those stuff. So amazing, so nice. But I look around, the church, they are bringing it out. And I go here, I see church. I go here, I see church. All corners. When I reach home, I said, wow, what is going on? That means church is now becoming a business. Like one street, they have more than 8 churches. One street, maybe more than 50, 40 in one street. I just be like, this some people are turning this to become a business. It's no longer what Christianity. They are turning it to become what business. So be careful, because a lot of people are no longer ready to do hard work. They are ready to scam you. So be wise. Be smart. There was one of my friend who called me from America. So before we start to have a conversation, she said, how much am I going to pay you in order for me to talk with you? I said, God forbid. Why do you ought to pay me? Why do you ought to drop money? I don't need your money. I work. You see me. Now that you are calling me, I'm already at work. Put it video call so that you can see. She put it. She see everything. I show her everything as I'm working. My master is not here. We are just having a break. So I'm not expecting nothing from you. Let's talk. Because let me tell you, A lot of scammers are not ready to show themselves as a scammer. They are using the body of Christ. So be careful the kinds of things, the kinds of churches, the kinds of places you go. Be careful with the kind of prophecy. Because even today, a lot of, in the olden days, you will see someone that dress like a witches, a wizard, a wedlock, or occultic. But today they are in the church. They are all in the church, bro. It sounds crazy. There was a voice that someone sent me. That was last week. After hearing the voice, the person was saying, I'm a man of God, I'm a married woman. After hearing the voice, I was just like, what is going on? What is really going on? Because of money? Like seriously? If you are a native daughter, let people know that this is what you are. Because being a native daughter is not a sin. It's also in the Bible. It's also in the Bible that the heaps in the field are made for the healing of the children of God. And in order for the children of God to obtain this healing, they need someone that understands it. They need someone. They need someone that traditionally that understand it. That is why if you read the book of Psalms, you will understand where David take a heaps in the field to bath in order for him to cleanse himself. So let me tell you, don't let nobody scam you. Tithing, offering, I'm not saying you should not give tithing to your pastor. Don't misquote me or don't misunderstand me. But don't give your tithing to your pastor because you are giving it to pass. You are giving it because you want to give it to your pastor to impress him. You are not giving it to God. You can decide to use it to settle some people. You can decide to use it to do a lot of charity up there. Tabitha in the Bible, in the time of Peter, was not recognized because of her word, because of her tithing. She was not recognized because of offering. She was recognized and restored because of a cheerful giver, a charity doing. She was not recognized as someone that so tithe, but she was indeed recognized by the community, by the church, the kind of sowing she sowed to the life of people. So don't let people scam you, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because there was also a time that I was watching one of a great influencer in the body of Christ who was saying, he charged money in order for him to you must surely book him. You must surely pay like money in order for him to talk to you or to have conversation to you or to hear your stories. Be careful. Be careful. Don't let people scam you, your hard work. Don't let people. You can support anywhere. You can support through the social media, through their platform. You can support. But don't let people use their gullible mouth, use their sweet mouth to convince you that if you don't so tithe, you will not make heaven. That is a highest scam. Don't let nobody. There was a pastor in Nigeria that asked for forgiveness because this is what he have been indeed preaching for long. But when people start to realize, this is not something good, he was telling them that if you don't pay your tithe, you will not make heaven. You will not go to heaven. You are not a child of God. If you don't do this, you are not a child of God. And there was a pastor also who was preaching, saying that the first fruit of the year, like your salary for January, you're supposed to bring it to the Lord. Imagine all your strength. You have mother, you have father. Because let me tell you, the first fruit of the year is supposed to be for your parents. Because they are what? After God is your parents, not your what? Not your pastors. Many of us don't know the blessing that follow this. The first fruit like January, that first fruit supposed to be for your parents. If you have enough, you're supposed to gather that money and give it to your parents. If you don't have parents, maybe you have an elder that respect himself in your family. You gather it. You say, Dad, uncle, I take you as my parents. So take this, I sow this as my first fruit to you. So don't let people scam you. Don't let people scam you. I'm saying this because I have seen a lot of people who think the reason why they are not blessed and the only way in which they will be blessed absolutely is by sowing tithe. Let me tell you, tithe can never make you become successful. It is your hard work and your persistence. Remain blessed.